Can you take that one? I'm ready when you're ready. You ready? I probably gotta big it up. Baby, I'm sorry if this got too crazy. I'm too full, no, I get impressive. Just gotta make sure that you get the message. For kids. Hello. Yeah, the conversation. Oh. Hello. Welcome to the Casual Konvo show with me, Coco.
And me, Tiff.
Where we're going to talk about, we're going to have conversations pretty much here and out about things that affect us in the communities, personal and business relationships. We always have the casual convo, so you won't have to have the tough convo. Before we start, I really, as you guys just heard, our dope song that was lit.
It really was.
I want to say thank you to We Love Twan Dawn. You can follow him on IG. We Love Twan Dawn. He's on all streaming platforms, as well as what's the one you go to? That upload their mixtapes and stuff. SoundCloud.
Is that it?
SoundCloud. It's SoundCloud.
Yeah. That sound right.
SoundCloud, Spotify.
Yeah, check them out.
Spotify.
Check them out. It's pretty dope. I'm hitting them up for another one, so just make sure we know it's about. So today, how are you?
Hello.
Wait, did this in a minute? I feel like, oh my gosh.
Usually.
I feel like it ain't been real. I mean, because we had to do the audio one,
Yes.
but now we like here.
Yes.
So I'm gonna say hello.
Greetings. Okay.
And then we come back with this. So today we're going to be talking about like traumatic experiences that may affect not just us but people. You know what I'm saying? Like not just us personally, but things that people like in our communities or people we may come across that may experience that it could be traumatic. Sometimes, people don't even understand that they had a traumatic experience or something happened that day that might have set the tone for the rest of their life.
Right.
So we're going to try to cover some things, not everything, as much as we can in 2 hours. What you think? Friend?
I think that's work. I think that'll work.
Okay, little New York.
I'm not New York. So anybody who know me know this is my team. Let's get to talking smack. Don't y'all be talking about my team.
Okay, whatever, dude. All right, so how you want to start this off? Because this get a little, I don't know. So I guess I ain't gonna cry. Did you bring some tissue?
I forgot to bring tissue. I'm not really a crier. I just hope that if you do cry, it's not like the ugly one. Dude, I need to get up and get some tissue before we get started.
No, we already done started. We going Rich.
Somebody gonna have to bring some tissue out here because she's gonna be emotional the whole show.
Okay. I got you.
However, I'm a soft thug, so
You're a soft thug.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you wear your hat. You think that's gonna lighten the mood or something? Like you ain't gonna cry?
I'm not gonna cry.
Yes, but you should cry, Rich. Why she gonna get teary eyed and she gonna be like, she?
I really doubt if I do.
Anywho. So, let me just start. I think by saying traumatic experiences have ranged from domestic violence, rape, the loss of a loved one, due to homicide. It could be the loss of a loved one, somebody who just meant the world to you, and the death just affected you drastically, and you just couldn't, recover from. And I think some people grieve through a period of time where they don't even understand that they're grieving.
Right.
Another thing for me that I really want to touch on for traumatic is in our society, our youth, our young people go through things, see things in their environments that I don't even think they understand affect them every day, or it affects their mindset, their way of thinking. And I think that's why we have a lot of the issues that we have. Like a lot of our children and a lot of our young people, a lot of our men and women suffer from PTSD of just the environment that we live. you know, things that happen. Even something could just happen in your life, even though it may not be traumatic to the rest of the world. It could be traumatic to all of us, you know. So, so yeah.
I mean, I really think in terms of the youth, I do agree with everything that you just said. But in addition to that, I think that something that also traumatizes youth is, honestly speaking, parents and miscommunication. Because we have the tendency to say things to our children that they may take completely different than how we worded it.
Exactly.
So I think you have to be precise when you talk to your children and make sure that they have an understanding, because that can cause problems later on down the line.
Yeah, and also it can be hard for some people to have that open conversation with their children, dependent dependent on um their upbringing and how their parents raised them. You get what I mean? Because not all parents know how to parent. And it's something that you actually learn, and everybody don't come from an environment. Or we learn through like trial and error of whatever's going on. We don't always just know what to say or how to open it up. And then you have some people who were like, you know, some parents try to hide their kids from stuff. What's the word I'm looking for? Like shelter or
shelter. Yeah, well,
no, what's the word?
It's not shelter. It's
like no, I can do it. So, but yeah, that's just that. You want to go first?
One person say what? Y'all want me to share traumatic experience? Is that what you're?
I mean, you don't have to go too deep. Like a brief summary. All right, like because I can make it
really quick. I've had a few, and I can make. I'm gonna say the one that probably traumatized me the most, and in the meantime, can you take me? So, the one that probably traumatized me the most, I can put into a brief summary because a lot of people don't know. I mean, I got friends that been my friends for years that probably don't know this. Honestly, be honest with you, Coco, this actually happened before you and I even knew each other. And it was very traumatizing. So a lot of people that know me know that my dad passed away. It was a long time ago. It was back in 2002. But it's been so long now that it doesn't bother me emotionally. But I'm going to tell y'all why it doesn't bother me emotionally. I'm going to tell you why I don't tear up anymore, or get really like teary-eyed or emotional about it anymore. Because, and it took a long time to get there, because I had many, many years of breaking down with the ugly cry and looking crazy and all of that. So long story short, real quick, my father already knew that he was sick. He knew that he was sick. Nobody in the family knew that he was sick. He didn't tell anybody that he was sick. We had no clue that he was sick. Right. So he was a drinker. Mm-hmm. He liked to have his little drink. You know, he get off work, he get his little bottle, he have his little drink. Mm-hmm. Well, nobody knew that drink was creating his liver to have issues. He knew this, but we didn't. So, you know, I went to work one day. I lied to you not. I went to work one day, and I was at work, and I left from work. I was working at the Baltimore Travel Plaza. And anybody who knows what the Baltimore Travel Plaza is, there's all kinds of people that come there. Every now and again, you might even get a celebrity or two. Right. And I had went home, and somebody called me, because I lived right behind the Travel Plaza at the time. Somebody called me, and they said, girl, come back to the Travel Plaza. They had some type of muscle dudes in there that was in there advertising their muscles and stuff. And they was like, girl, come back up here because, you know, the muscle dudes is in here. We know you gonna want to see them. And I was like, oh, I'm on my way. Let me put my shoes and stuff back on. Right. So right when I was ready to leave out the door, I hear my buzzer go off. And, you know, in the little apartment where you buzz, you be like, hello, who is it? And so it was my father's best friend. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, you know, it's Mr. Donnie. And I'm like, okay, first instinct, why are you at my house? Mm-hmm. And he's like, your father missing. So I'm thinking he playing, because him and my father are known for playing. This is what they do. So I'm like, this man is not missing. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna let you up. So he come up there. He come into my apartment and he like, no, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. Like your dad is missing. And I'm like, how a whole adult person just come up missing? Like, then I realized I hadn't talked to him in a few days, but that wasn't uncommon when he would go on his little chicken benders. He would do that. So it wasn't uncommon to not talk to him or not hear from him, every so often or every few days or whatever. So he like, well, you're the only person with a key. We need to go up there and go check on him. So in my mind, I'm still literally thinking that they're playing. Right. So I get in Mr. Donnie car and, we riding and he telling me how, he going back to like stories back when my dad married my mom and when I was born and how happy he was and all this stuff. And I'm just looking at this man like still thinking that they playing. Right. Pull up to my father's house. For whatever reason, my stomach instantly started hurting. Like out of nowhere, I just started vomiting. I felt real sick just out of nowhere. And in my mind, I was like, what the hell? I ain't gonna lie. Back then, I was like, oh my God, you better not be pregnant. Because I just had my son then. And I was like, oh Lord, I'm pregnant again. What am I doing? What am I doing with Tim? That's what I was thinking. But, in a traumatic experience, that's not what it was. It was almost like my body was preparing me for what I was about to walk into. So I went in this house. I opened the door and I went in this house. My father was a mechanic. He never, ever, when he brought tools home, you would never see them scattered all over the house. You would never see them like all. The house just didn't look how it normally looked. First of all, I walked in the door and I seen tools, and I was like, "Why is his tools right there? Like this is not even what he did." So Mr. Donnie say, "Well, let me go upstairs and see if he upstairs because we heard the TV on." He said, "Let me see if he upstairs just in case." He, not decent, you ain't gotta see all that. And I'm like, well, yeah, you go upstairs because I don't want to see all that. So he go upstairs and it's just like real silent for like a few minutes. And I'm sitting there like, well, I gotta pee. So, I mean, is he up there? Like, what's going on? So I start walking up the steps. Mr. Donnie walking back down the steps, but he flying down the steps. And I'm trying to fly up the steps like, excuse me, I gotta go to the bathroom. He like, go back downstairs. And I'm like, I can't go back downstairs. I gotta pee. So I kind of like pushed past him. Girl, I got to the top of them steps. My father was in that daggone bed, passed away. But I didn't know he was passed away right away. It just looked like he was sleeping from where I was at. So I kind of went over there and I kind of did one of these. And as soon as I touched him, I just was like, that's not how living bodies feel. So I like pulled back. And then at some point I had to have blacked out because the next thing I remember is waking up downstairs with medics and all these crazy people around me just asking me questions like, how old is he? When is his birthday? This, that, and the third. I mean, questions that at the moment I couldn't even answer. And, through all of that, like, I really didn't think it had affected me in no type of way until it came time for his funeral and I didn't cry. I didn't have any emotion. People kept on saying to me, like, it's okay. Don't hold it in. You got to cry. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I'm just looking at these people like, please shut up because I'm fine. I'm good. I'm okay. It's nothing wrong. So later on down the line, come to find out, it really was something wrong. Like, I wasn't purposely holding it in. I just don't think at that moment I knew how to deal with it. So, I mean, I'm talking about like his funeral. I did not shed a tear. Went to the cemetery. I did not shed a tear. I didn't. I had zero emotion until after the funeral when it came time for me to try to go to sleep at night. I couldn't. Later on down the line, I found probably months later, he passed away in April. I think that August is when I finally had a full breakdown. And it was like out of nowhere. It just came out of nowhere. I mean, it had gotten to the point where it was so bad, like I had to, I put myself in therapy because I'm like, this ain't even me. Like, I've been to funerals and all that, but my dad, we was real close. So it was just, I had to go to therapy. I had to go to sleep therapy. Like I couldn't sleep because it was like every time I closed my eyes, I literally seen him on that bed. And it jacked me up for a while. I mean, it messed me up for a really long time because, those who know me during that time, my father and I were best friends. I mean, when I found him, I called my friend. I called my grandfather first. And my grandfather, he was elderly. He trying to get to me because he know the relationship me and my father had. So he had already had in his mind, it's no way that she's okay. But I was still trying to be okay when I really wasn't okay until I had to go see somebody and I had to talk about it and I had to really like channel energy. Like I went through every single emotion of grief. I mean, I went through anger. I went through, and then I was like pissed off with him when I found out that it was cirrhosis of the liver. Like, how do you not tell nobody that you have that? I was probably more pissed when I found out how much his funeral cost and he ain't had no daggone insurance. But we'll deal with that when I get to happen. But I was mad. I was hot.
You ain't gonna get in.
Listen, I'm just saying.
Girl, he not gonna
I'm just saying. I was hot because you're supposed to have life insurance. You was not supposed to be sticking people with your funeral bill. I was mad.
He's gonna let you come through them doors and them gates, and you gonna be up there like, excuse me.
All right, well, God forgive me, but I'm still a little salty about that funeral cost. But anyway, it was a lot to deal with. It really was. It was a lot to deal with. I had never been that close to a freshly deceased person ever in my life, and I really didn't know what to do. And it screwed me up for a while until I got help. I had to get help. I really came to the terms with myself that like you need help. You ain't sleeping right. You got this kid you got to look after. Like I couldn't do nothing. And back then I had phenomenal friends. They was coming over. They was cooking for me. They was spending nights with me. I was up all night. I had people taking care of my son for me because I was just in a really dark place because I did not understand what transpired. I could not grasp terms with what transpired. But now, now it's been so long. It's okay. Like I go to the cemetery, I sit there, cross my little legs before I got disabled, and I sit there and have a whole conversation right there at this gravesite. But years ago, I was unable to do that. I couldn't. And that was the most traumatic experience that I've ever had in my life. Ever.
I got more than one.
I mean, I have more than one too, but I mean that was the most traumatic. I got some tissues in here for this child. Like, don't you get on this camera and look ugly. Look, we got some wipes.
Give me them. They got collagen in it.
Yeah, vitamin E and stuff. Go ahead. Speak on your traumatic experience. And pick us experiences that's not going to take you back to that place.
They all do. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've been through some stuff. You know what I mean? It's like,
too.
I'm one of them people. I should probably write a book. So no book. But I should probably. I'm trying to think how much I want to share. I had one. I think for me, most of mine started when I lost my brother. Okay. That was like Mother's Day has never been the same for me since '97. And it's like that week, I never forget it. It was that weekend. I'm gonna say probably that Thursday. He called me. We were supposed to go. It was like this festival that used to happen like all the time. I can't even remember what it was because I blocked so much out. So I remember we were supposed to meet up, and me and my brother was tight. It was just me and him. It was like me, him, and then it was my grandma. So, I talked to him. I remember he was going to work. We talked, laughed like we always do. Talk trash or whatever. So the plan was to go to the festival. And remember I told you we used to like draw and stuff together, paint and all of that stuff. So we were supposed to get together, go to the festival, and I had Eric at the time. So we were all gonna go, and we were supposed to do that. We do the cheesecake, pizza, everything, all on Mother's Day after we went to see my grandmother. So that Friday, so it was a Thursday, I talked to him. That Friday evening, the girl from his job called. Her name was Cheryl. She called me and was like, "Hey, where did you talked to Eric when he didn't come? He ain't been to work." I'm like, "What you mean? That's not my problem." It's like, "He ain't been to work." I said, "Let me see if he woke." So I'm calling this phone, no answer. So I start calling his friends, no answer. So now I'm scared because I go to the house and I can hear the dog. So I'm like, okay, maybe he just, out. The next day, Saturday come. They called me again. Nobody heard from him. So how you start vomiting, getting that. I'm like, something don't feel right in my spirit. You know what I mean? So called like my grandmother. So she like, well, let me call around. So we calling everything. Girl, missing people, all every hospital, clinic, whatever you in Baltimore, we was calling them. No John Doe's, no Eric Evans, nobody. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay. I know he ain't go away because whenever he went away, whether it was New York, Philly, wherever, he would call me because I would, stay at the apartment, with the dog and everything like that. And I'm like, we never went a day without talking. Right. So the second day, we talking about Saturday, I'm like, okay. So being so nobody seen him, nobody heard him, I said, I'm gonna go back down there. So I can hear again, I hear the dog. And at the time I didn't have my key because I'm not thinking.
Right.
So I go on a fire escape right there on St. Paul. Right there, where the water thing, where the little fountain is, the little turnabout. So it's a fire escape. Girl, I almost got locked up. Because I'm at the window on a fire escape, banging on the window. I'm like, all right. So somebody called the police, girl. They was like, get down. I said, I know what I'm trying. I thought you lying. No, I'm not. I'm going up in here. Girl, dead serious.
I believe you.
I'm dead serious. No, I'm not. Girl, they had like 4 or 5 calls trying to get me down off of that thing. I lied to you not. It was me and my cousin, and I said, I'm not. Something don't feel right. So one of them came up on the fire. I said, I don't care what you do. I am not. You gonna open it? So he was like, because we had did the. Let me backtrack because we had called, all the precincts and stuff. So he said, well, do you really think somebody's in there? I said, yes, I do. So he said, if you get off the fire escape, I will open I'll open the door. He was like, are you familiar with the Dutch? Yes, I am. I couldn't get through the front door. That's why I'm up here, sir. So they it's always one yelling, get her. I said, shut up. I'm not doing nothing. I'm staying right here. So
that's how it be though.
Then my cousin and all of them, they like, all right, get down. I'm like, no, I'm not. So finally, the one, he compromised with me. He said, I promise you, I will go in just to clear your head, give you a peace of mind if you just get down off the fire escape. As that girl, it was shaking, and I'm scared of heights. Tiff, he was up on the top floor. I'm not thinking. I'm glad I didn't look down at the time because I wasn't worried about nothing. I probably would have peed on myself, girl, and peed on myself and everything. So I go down. I'm like standing like right there. Girl, all I had on the radio, he had. Let me tell you how I literally like, I'm not gonna cry, but I forgot everything. And to see my brother just like that, to this day, I don't like for people to lay a certain way around me. I don't play about asthma. Let's just say that because if you got asthma and you playing with it, because that's how my brother died, and the asthma pump was right there. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like I ain't gonna do it.
That was some collagens.
Okay.
Take one.
I can take more than one. Oh wait a minute, no, I think it's this. Look at Alpha today. Oh my gosh, I gotta make myself laugh. Who did it? Was it my son? Thank you, Rex. Thank you so much. But it's like it'd be like little things, and so mind you, this is Mother's Day, so you could hear me screaming. They said from like blocks away. My heart literally left my chest to the point. After that, I didn't eat, and my kid's father could tell you he was scared. I was like suicidal. That's how I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. I was like taking pills and everything. I was because that was all I had. Man. I was calling his phone. I think I called that number for like 6 months until somebody else answered, and I was mad. Why is you answering this number? Mm-hmm. Girl, and girl, next thing you know, when I went to the hospital, my grandmother took me to the hospital, and they was like, girl, don't do this to your baby. I said, who baby? I said, I'm fine. He was my grandma. He was like, no. That's how I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. And for the longest time, I kept saying, oh my gosh. And it's like, for a long time, I think, same thing, counseling, grief. Like, you can never tell nobody how long or, like, how to grieve or how something is going to affect your life or, I don't know. And it's like, for me, for that to happen, like I said, I'm some type of way about people I'm close to. You know, when you lose somebody that mean the world to you, it's like it's hard for you to get close to other people,
right?
Or to let people inside your world, because when you lose somebody and it devastates you to that dynamic, like I was messed up for years, and then not too long after that, I don't know. I don't think I never really been right. You know what I mean? Because it's like, even though I talked to him, I feel like I should have said more. Or, certain things. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I'm going to stop talking about that one. Do I go about the other one?
I'm not going to say that I'm not right since my father died, but I'll definitely say, because I went and I really did get an extensive amount of help because I knew that I needed help. But I will say that there are things about people that really bother me now, such as like alcoholics, basically. Alcoholics really, really bother me now. And, even in dating people that I see, drink what I would feel is just a little bit too much. I mean, we all drink. Y'all see me every Wednesday here. I got this cup. I sip my little wine. Okay, it's a cup of wine. It's a cup of wine. But I mean, like, shot after shot and drink after drink, or binge drinking, which is what my dad did. It really bothers me, and I find it very unattractive. You can have your drinks here and there. We can drink together, but don't make it a thing where it starts to consume your body, because I watched my father binge drink for years. And when I say binge drink, I'm talking about he might not drink for 2 weeks straight, but then on that third week, he might start on Monday and he don't stop till Sunday. And from Monday to Sunday, nobody heard from him. So it was very common for us not to hear from him. That's why when he passed away in his house, nobody knew. Nobody knew, because us not hearing from him that whole week, that was normal. That was what he does. Nobody thought to say, oh, well, let me call and check on him, because this is what he does. He's been doing this for years. So I never thought, hey, let me. And then you beat yourself up, because after the autopsy came in and all of that stuff, I find out that he probably could have been saved if we could have got to him Friday, but we went Saturday. Mm-hmm. But would he really have been saved because he had cirrhosis of the liver? Would he have stopped drinking? Of course he wouldn't have. He would have continued to do what he was doing because he knew he was sick years ago. He just didn't tell anybody. So it was like, you can't even beat yourself up. I mean, I went through all the emotions, beat myself up, angry.
My grandmother did that.
Going through everything.
Like,
but
when she got sick, she didn't. I think sometimes with older people, and I had to learn, because I was one of them people that watched, like, a lot of people in my family pass. I don't know, for some reason, they say it's a gift, whatever. So it's like, older people don't like people to worry. And right. I think my grandmother, when she knew she was getting sick, it wasn't that they want to hide it. I think it's kind of like, keep your normalcy. And they know we're going to worry and we're going to go through things. But it's kind of like, they just wanted to happen. And it was like, when it started, being as though the profession that I was in and that I'm still in, I was able to identify and know certain behaviors and, symptoms and things like that. So, which helped me to let my family know. Before a long time, they was in denial too.
Right.
So it was like, I dealt with that one. So then all I had was her, because she was the only one that really understood that I could talk to. And it's kind of like, sometimes your family don't get it.
They don't.
They don't understand, and I don't think sometimes they don't try to understand how you feel. So my grandma was like that person. So of course, when I lost her, I was. Let me tell y'all. Whew, you talk about, man. Listen, I was in shutdown. You think I shut down now, and you know how people like, You always shut down. No, that was real. And like I always tell people, even when I see people lose people, and you know how people be like, oh, why they still feel some type of way, or why they still, don't go on through. You can't tell nobody how to grieve. You can't tell nobody what they should feel or how they should feel. To this day, I still feel, as you can see, you can't tell people, especially that's a piece of your heart. You know what I mean? That's gone. But I need to change to another something.
Well, now. I have, but I have a similar situation. Like, remember with my grandfather?
Yeah.
And I think everybody in Facebook world knows. I will post Pop all the time. You'll see pictures popping up on Facebook of Pop and his little slick leather, his little leather hat, and all that. We were really, really close. Why? And I mean, I was raised by my grandfather my whole entire life. My mom did what she needed to do at the time that she needed to do it while my grandfather was raising me. My dad was doing what he felt he needed to do. And I'm just grateful that I had a grandfather to raise me and lead me and guide me into the right direction while my parents learned how to become better parents. Right. However, with my grandfather, when he passed away, because it was like my grandfather was like my mother and my father. I think the only reason why it wasn't traumatic for me and why I didn't take it as hard as everybody expected is because that man lived 95 years. Yeah. That man has been everywhere in the world. He purchased his home. He raised his kids. He raised one of his grandkids. He did everything that he was supposed to do. 95 years. But here's the crazy thing.
Oh, your voice cracked.
You know when he... I wasn't.
Friend, I knew you was. Friend. I know my friend. Friend,
I'm not an emotional.
You heard her voice crack? Did you hear? She was trying to hold it. It's okay, friend. Go ahead.
So anyway, she want me to cry on the air, but I'm like, I'm okay. I completely accepted my grandfather's death. Like, I was completely okay. Even when I was talking to you, I was completely okay. But, I was at the hospital every single day from the first day that he went in to the last day that he left. What actually ended up taking him away, believe it or not, was seizures. Now, I'm going to tell you why that scares me, because my son had seizures. And my grandfather got seizures late in his life. My son got seizures as an adult. I'm sorry, y'all. We was having an issue. With Chanel Coco microphone. Her microphone was trying to get real intimate with him. But no, I was there.
Like this.
Maybe don't put it in my throat. But I was okay from day one to the last day. And I think what made me be even more okay was the fact that I knew my mother would not be okay. So somebody had to be okay so that she could be okay.
Not to cut you off, Jenny said she loved the pics you used to post of your grandfather. They were so precious.
Guys, I post them all the time, girl. Papa was my heart and will cuss you out in a heartbeat. Papa will get in your butt. And had no kind of remorse whatsoever. But he was a really good dude. But like, when you have people that get that much older and you watch them, like I watched him for a great portion of my life do everything that he wanted to do, live how he wanted to live. Unfortunately, those seizures is what caused him his life. If he didn't have those seizures, he might still be here. Mm-hmm. But when he passed away, I was okay with him passing away because 95 years is a long time to live. If you can make it to 95 years, that is a blessing. So I wasn't really upset. I was okay until the day of that funeral.
I was okay with my grandmother, but I think I felt like she waited for me because she took her last breath when I got there, and I was okay because I was there like every day. But at the same time, it was like, who I got now? I don't have nobody. Right. And that's how it was. I just invested in being a parent. And I wanted to make them happy, them proud of me. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't like, at the time, I couldn't go to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, my support system was gone. Like, my brother was gone. bro was gone. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't really too close to nobody like
Y'all
that.
see me squinting
But,
my eyes. I'm trying to read comments that's popping up on the screen. I ain't got glasses at first.
Grandma took both of us through the ringer. I didn't even know how to be there for you in that situation.
Hold on, how are you reading this? Like,
girl, because I can
let
see
me
what
see
you
if I can
on
see
text. They is like bipolar.
oh, okay, well that's not fair. You're cheating.
Oh, they like bipolar bitch. That's what they say. Thank you, Gerald. That's Gerald. Gerald, he know I call him drunk many a day. I'm telling you, that's why I'm drinking Hennessy.
I'm gonna tell you, the worst part of my grandfather's death was my mother and her brother. You know, family can make an experience traumatic.
I remember
that experience wasn't traumatic for me.
It was. I think it was
until they got I was perfectly fine until they started bumping heads. Like their father didn't just pass away. And it pissed me off. Like, I've never in my life talked to my mother and my uncle as if they was my children.
Yeah.
I had to talk to them like they was my children. I mean, they was talking through me. Like, you know, call her and tell her XYZ. You call him and tell him XYZ. Like, no. Call each other. They stressed me so bad I developed an eye twitch. I had an eye twitch, and that was bad, and that was stressful. And it was a little traumatizing for me because I'm like, are y'all serious? Yeah. Because in my mind, you know, on my mother's side of the family, not only am I the only girl, but I'm the baby. So why am I dealing with this? Why am I dealing with this? With the two of y'all?
We be the ones, and then we be the ones, but people don't understand. We go through stuff. Just like I just want to switch it, only because I feel my bowl of emotions, and I'm suppressing them right now. But before
New Boo Terrell, he said, where are people commenting? Terrell, if you go on to Facebook.
No, I'm going to fix it on YouTube.
Okay, on YouTube? Or YouTube. No, he's on, I believe he's on Facebook? The app.
Oh, you on an app?
But you tag, I know you're lying. Oh, you tagged me on Facebook, correct?
I couldn't. I tried to add you, but you wasn't on.
Okay, never mind. Give me a second to answer that question.
No, go back and go to the thing. Well, anyway, let me just say this. Okay, let me touch on. I'm gonna take ourselves out of it for a second because your voice was cracking. And
this girl wanted me crying so bad. Okay, I got it.
So it's like,
does it say I'm on there?
I watch it. So one thing I wanted to say was going back to the PTSD thing, like working in healthcare and working and doing some things that we do. It's kind of like the homicide rate. I don't know where everybody's from. Like being from Baltimore, I can honestly say, and my feeling is, you can't tell me the youth of the city and surrounding counties or wherever they migrate don't feel no type of way or experiencing anything. And you can tell by their actions. That's why they're so angry.
Right.
Everybody on go. Everybody on. To me, it's like, what?
I'm sorry. I was reading a comment.
It's like I don't get it, because at the same time I feel like who gonna be there for them? You know what I mean? And then it's like I don't get it. And that traumatic might be different. Like they losing friends every day.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Your life always on the line when you walk out the house every day. Like, even though we went through some stuff when we was coming up, like it wasn't peaches and cream.
I ain't never went through nothing that been going on nowadays.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I ain't been through
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, even though we went through, like, you know, fighting or, you know, everything like that, but I feel like our kids experiencing something on a whole nother level than what we experience. Like, we can always be like, yeah, we've been there, done that. I ain't been there, did this
at all.
I don't this them. Like, they don't care. And I think part of the not caring, I mean, look around. Well, every other day, what you see? Rest in peace, rest in heaven. Not my homie.
Yep.
I mean, every day.
Ridiculous.
You cannot tell me. And honestly, you ain't gonna tell me this is why our mental health rate is not up. It's from just imagine all you hear is gunshots every day. Imagine all you see is people shooting up, people getting their heads blown off. I done seen it. You know what I'm saying? You got to deal with not only your life being on the line, you got people sitting close to you like this, plotting on you.
Yep.
And you know it. It's like you can't trust nobody, so you just angry all the time. You're just angry all the time. And then it's kind of like nobody listens to them. So I feel like that's those experiences like Al Casey, to me, it ain't even just about what you go through. Like your environment it can be a traumatic experience. And it's like nobody is understanding that they need help. Or oh yeah, they're angry all the time. They angry because they mentally messed up.
Right.
And you know, traumatic experiences make you feel it can take you to a mental thing. Right. Depression. You see how many young, especially young men that's like schizophrenic, bipolar, and depressed in the mug.
But half of the time they don't even know that they are those things.
They don't, and
they don't even understand that those things are happening to them. And a lot of that is some of that. I'm not going to say all of it. I'm just going to say some of that can come from our parenting skills. First of all, when we have children, there's no rule book to this. We don't get a book that tells us exactly what we're supposed to do and how to do it. You kind of do this as you go along. But I mean, as parents, we say things and we do things that are mistakes. I've done it. I've said it. I've done things that were mistakes. And I think personally, one of the biggest things that we say to our children, and I'm guilty of it, and I know you're probably guilty of it as well. But one of the biggest things, the biggest things that we say to our children, and when we say it, we're not precise, is what goes on in this house stays on in this house, which is fine until something goes on in that house that causes that child a traumatic experience. They need to feel comfortable talking to someone. So when we say these type of things to our children, we have to be precise.
I don't think I ever said that. I think I have. I have.
My mother said it.
No, my thing is
I've said it. But I was precise with it.
But that's what I'm saying when I say I've been through some stuff. You get what I'm saying? Whereas though I parent a little different because of experiences that I've had coming up from families that. Let me just say this. I had to fend for myself at a real early age of like 11. So we're gonna leave it at that. And then it's kind of like when you have to go through that, you tend to you don't want your kids to go through that. So my thing is, and I did come from a family that's very, be private. Yes, I'm a private person. However, I always raise my kids. If you need to talk, you talk. Even if it's not just from me. If it's somebody that's, of stature, like, of an adult. Even if it's like a friend like you or whoever. Go out. Go, please.
Yeah,
please
they have to be okay.
Even if it's like me. Even if it's me. Like, you need that outlet.
Right.
And I think through a lot of stuff, I didn't know that. I had to learn as I went. So I taught my kids differently so that they wouldn't have the same experiences. But the thing is, even though we teach our children, they don't always listen. And sometimes they listen after the fact, later on in life, hey Khadija, and things like that. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Oh, I gotta try to fix it. I don't know why.
I just think that when we talk to our children, we need to be precise. You need to be precise in what you're saying. Be precise and be direct. If you don't want your child to tell the things that's going on in your home, I completely get that. My daughter has a habit of telling on me, especially telling my mother like I'm gonna get a beating or something. Mm-hmm. But if something is going on in my household that is causing my daughter some type of pain or some type of experience where she's not feeling the right way, by all means, come tell me. If you don't tell me, tell your brother, tell somebody. I don't never leave that door closed to where as though they can't come to me and talk. Right. But some parents do. they don't talk to their children and find out what's really going on with them. I know it's a big thing that we say you can't be your child's friend. You have to have a level of friendship with your child in order for them to trust you, to talk to you. At some point, you're going to have a level of friendship with your child. Otherwise, they're not going to want to talk to you as they get older. You have to be your child's friend and your child's parent. You just have to know how to distinguish the two.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to. It was telling me stuff. I be forgetting. Is your page private? Is that private? Because I tried to text somebody and they saying they didn't see it.
It's open.
Okay. But yeah, that's my thing. We gotta be precise when we talk to our kids.
Yeah.
Make sure that they have an understanding of the message that we're trying to have them see.
I agree. I definitely agree. But the thing is, not only, I think people don't understand, like,
I'm just reading Jay Cat his comment.
When they go through stuff, it's kind of like, it don't only affect us. And I think sometimes we get lost in who gets affected by things that happen in our lives. Our children are affected.
Right.
Your family, like other family members are affected. The communities are affected. Your job is affected. Like your health, your mental status. Like, it's a lot that's affected by. It's a lot. It's a lot. So it's kind of like, how do you be? I don't know. We're gonna have to talk about how you identify, like, what you do, like. But it's kind of, some things you just learn how to deal with,
right?
And how to continue moving forward.
Well, that.
But before we finish, because I forgot something. So, hello. If you want to call in, if you would like to call in, please call 410-761-1592. That's what we want to say.
Hello. Well, what was you saying before that? How do you deal with it? Or what was your exact words again?
How do you cope? Like, how we cope with things. Because even though it don't affect no, not right there. Oh. So I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. I had to get myself out of that because I felt myself going there.
Well,
and I was gonna be ugly crying.
But you can't put a Band-Aid on it.
I don't put a Band-Aid on it, but let's just say this. I think, if I start crying, I start talking. Oh my. And I don't got time for you doing your sarcastic friend. Please get together.
I mean, I told you this before we came. Just don't do the ugly cry.
And I was about to go there.
And it's okay because some traumatic experiences make us have the ugly cry. But
no, that's why I always say you can't tell nobody how to feel. You can't tell nobody when to get over something. You can't tell nobody what should or should not affect them because you're not them. You're not. I hate. I don't know. I ain't gonna say I hate. I dislike when people do that or judge a person for being emotional. Yes, I am very freaking emotional. I am, and I think part of me because I was raised to not show emotion. Okay. I was part of women who were so proud, who were so strong. They never cried. When I would see them cry, I would be like shocking. Like the first time I think I seen the women in my family cry, like was when my grandmother passed. Cause they be so hard and so strong, so like they like bust. bossed up. So when they crank, girl, you should. And mind you, I'm an adult. I was like this. I didn't know she could do that.
Juicy.
No, sir. It was like robots, and then I had to do it because when I started like really getting into meeting people and understanding that I had emotion, and people will be like, "You so cold." I'm like, "I ain't cold. What's wrong with you? You too soft." But then I had to realize it's okay.
Right.
And then it's like once, like I said, through different methods of coping and learning how to deal with it because I was so messed up mentally. Like, I mean, to the point, I was like, it ain't even no point me being here because I ain't got nobody else. I didn't have nobody. It was just me. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like when you go through those things, you learn that it's okay to show emotion. So I don't care. I don't have a problem with that. You hurt my feelings.
Right.
Yes, I'm going to cry. If I felt, and you know me, you could be like, I'm like, oh my God, is you okay? Is you okay? I'm like, and it's okay. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to show that you have a heart. And I think that's the problem. Everybody's so tough, and you got so many strong, ignorant people, angry people walking around because they don't want to show emotion because it's looked at as being soft. And that's part of the problem.
True.
It's part of the problem.
That's true. But my question is, after you have a traumatic experience,
I know I be talking about the pain all the time, Khadijah, but I don't want to talk about all the pain right now because I'm trying to tell you it's not going to be cute. And she going to talk about me for like 80 days on socially.
Well, we're not going to paint me to be the bad person. That's what we're not going to do. Because anybody who knows me, I'm soft as drugstore cotton. That's number one. We're not going to paint me to be the bad person. I just handle things emotionally different than what you do. And you're not going to sit here on the air and have the ugly cry. You're just not. Because that's not what
But if that's my emotion, why are you going to tell me?
Because we're trying to help people, and your ugly cry is going to make other people cry.
You can be ugly.
That's going to make other people cry. We're not trying to make people cry. I can't see that far. But this is my question, and this is a serious question.
All right.
After you have a traumatic experience and you go through your emotions and you go through your 7 stages of grief or whatever you need to go through, at what point in your life, if you're still going through it, do you recognize that you need some type of help?
It depends on the person. Like for me, I just, like I said, how I was raised, you deal with it. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't until, like I said, when I found out that my grandma was like, oh no, you're not about to, you know what I'm saying, go through this. And then when that was one, and then when I lost her, I think my profession, they could see it. It was when I was at work, and it was kind of like it took another person outside of that dynamic of strength and non-emotion to literally, and I had a moment where I was able to really break down. And instead of masking it and suppressing it, I was allowed to do that. And with me allowing to do that, that person was able to talk to me to let me know there are people that you can talk to,
right,
to go through this, and to give you the tools and the resources that you need to live. Because right now you're not living. You're just walking around. And that's what I was doing. I was walking around trying to figure out how I'm going to end this. And nobody knew that though. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. And you just never know. But you can't the person has to understand that everybody don't understand there's something wrong.
Right.
And that's why you have people that end up impatient. Because they don't understand that turmoil. It's an internal thing of turmoil that you go through, and everybody don't understand what it is. When you get everybody, shut up, don't do that. You don't need to do that. Or but the thing is, you learn. Like I said, it could be a song, it could be a moment. Like I said, Mother's Day is hard for me.
Right.
But I know how to deal with Mother's Day because I was given tools of what to do. It's okay for me to take a moment to myself and reflect, or if I need to release. And there's some moments where it's okay for me to talk about them because I have good memories. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or it gives me light. It gives me brightness to, whatever's going on. It's how you deal with it. But I don't think, me personally, my opinion, some things you just never get over. You learn how to understand them to move forward where it does not harm you and affect you,
right,
to hold you back from living. And that's the thing. A lot of people are held back from living, holding on to hurt and holding on to pain and not properly grieving because people telling them you can't.
Yeah.
All right, you had this time frame. All right, that's been 2 years ago, so it's enough for that. You can't. Right. That's not your choice. You don't know what that person or whatever the situation is meant to that person. That's like telling a rape victim, get over it. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't. But we're gonna talk about that too in the second hour. But right now, because I was getting ready to go there. You see my face? My nostril was flying. But
but it's the truth though. It is the truth.
But we're gonna take a little break. Just to regroup, and I think I need to because I feel myself. Usually, I'm starting to get real passionate about this. So we're gonna take like a 5-minute break. Regroup, and Khadijah, I'm gonna fix that so you can comment on YouTube, ma'am.
And yes, Khadijah, softest drugstore cotton. Yes, to answer your question.
We'll be back. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
You gonna play married? You gonna play married? And trying to take me there? Did you just put me in my feelings?
I was laughing because Gerald was like, she will cry in the car. Something on me. That's why I was laughing. You said I'm gonna cry in the car, but I'm really not.
I think if you go to edit, no, don't end it.
Go ahead.
Not yet.
I think it's because of the kids.
You put it on kids?
Yeah, it's we didn't. It's not me. You said no kids. Yeah, no kids.
No, that's what I'm saying. When you go back to where you was at, go to live chat. You can't because it's I was going to try to touch it.
It won't let me.
Oh, live chat is disabled. Go to learn more.
Yeah, that's all I was reading. That's why when I was saying it, I was reading that.
You said, huh?
It's because of that. Well, because of kids. Because what did you put? Yes or no? No. You said no. It's not for kids, right? No. Yes. You put yes is for kids. Yeah. So I think it's because of that. Because it is for kids that is blocking the live chat. What does it say?
Oh, well, what about just regular comments? Can people still comment though?
That's what I'm saying. That's the chat. That's the live chat. That's what they saying comments. The comments can't come up because the chat bar that's supposed to be up on the side.
Oh, ain't that something? Hi, Courtney. Hello.
Oh, let me see. It said if you said it.
We just on a little break.
That's made for kids.
Yeah.
It's just said it made for
Take
kids.
a drop.
It said starting in January. You said your audience is made for kids will restrict certain features to comply with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act.
Live chat or live chat.
So we can start the live stream over, and that way the live chat will be enabled.
Are they both on save?
Huh?
They both on save?
Yeah. So just end the stream. You start the stream over, and then do it for
we be back.
Not for kids.
You sure?
Yeah.
Is you sure?
Yeah.
I got 8.